We asked 847 women over the age of 50 what parts of a man's body they truly pay attention to in men older than 60, and the third answer on the list even surprised me. And before you assume it is his chest or his shoulders, take a moment to comment where you're watching from. And the fourth body part on this list is something 91% of men completely overlook. Yet it shows your level of personal care even from far away, and most men only realize this when it is already too late. And I will go through all five parts, why they matter after 60, and what women are noticing. And the fifth point may seem obvious, but the real reason behind it will completely shift how you see your approach to presentation. And this is why your physical structure speaks loudly about the kind of man you are. And body part number five is your posture, basically how your spine stays aligned. And I know it doesn't sound like a body part, but stay with me because this is something women read before they even focus on your face. And 72% of the women we talked to said a man's posture reveals more about his everyday lifestyle than his overall fitness. And when you're standing in line at a cafe, stepping out of your car, or simply walking across a parking lot, women are quietly watching your overall structure. And are your shoulders pushed forward for no reason? And is your head sticking out in front of your chest? And does your entire body seem to be folding inward because after 60, posture can decline very quickly, and women fully understand this natural change, and they are not comparing you to a 25-year-old, and instead they are asking a very different question in their minds. Is this man still engaged in life, or is he starting to give up? And that is the message they pick up, and it is the difference between energy and defeat. And I have seen men with amazing bodies, broad shoulders, and clearly defined arms who spend many hours at the gym, but they walk around as if the world has drained them, and their head hangs forward, and their upper back is rounded, and their whole presence quietly says, I am exhausted and done. And then there is the average man, maybe a little soft around the stomach, but he stands tall, his chin is level, his chest is open, and he moves as if he still owns the space around him. And which one of these two men do you honestly think gets a second interested look? And it creates a huge difference in how you are seen. And the quick instinctive message women receive is whether you are still fully alive and engaged, or if you have mentally and physically checked out, and at 60, 65, or even 70, you do not have the advantage of hiding behind youth anymore, because your physical structure sends a message instantly. And the good news is that this is not something you are born with, and it is not about your natural height or your bone shape, and it is about choosing to manage your posture and movement instead of letting them slowly fall apart with time, and make a conscious effort to stand tall, gently pull your shoulders back, and keep your head in line with your spine. And I know it sounds incredibly simple, but most men don't understand how strongly this one small adjustment changes the first impression they make. And next comes something just as important. Your hands are the most honest body part you have. And body part number four is your hands. And I am not talking about how big or strong they are. I mean the overall condition of your hands, your nails, your skin texture, and your basic grooming habits. And women often call this the truthful body part, because you can hide so many other things, and you can wear shirts that hide your belly, and you can style your hair to cover thinning spots, and you can buy glasses that improve your look, but your hands, most men never think about them, so they show everything. And after 60, aging signs appear on the hands earlier than almost anywhere else, and veins become more visible. The skin changes in texture, age spots show up, and this is all normal and natural. But the real question women have is not whether your hands look young, it is whether you pay attention to small details or only what you see in the mirror. And taking care of your hands takes barely 60 seconds a week, trimming and filing your nails, pushing back the cuticles, and basic upkeep. Yet most men ignore it completely. And I will be fully honest with you, I have been on dates where a man's hands were the reason I immediately knew I wouldn't continue seeing him, not because his hands were rough or hard from work, because working hands can actually be very attractive, and calluses earned from lifting weights, building things, or doing real physical work send a strong message of activity, and that is a very positive sign. But neglected hands, uneven nails, dry cracked skin, and cuticles that clearly haven't been touched in months send a different message, and they show a man who does not pay attention to details, and if he ignores something so easy to notice. What else is he choosing to overlook in his life? And there is a major difference between hands that work hard and are still cared for, and hands that are simply abandoned and forgotten without any effort. And here is the part most men misunderstand, because hands that look overly polished can also be a negative sign. And if your hands look more perfectly maintained than mine, it signals a different kind of issue. And it suggests you might be trying a bit too hard, maybe even appearing desperate, and women can sense desperation very quickly, and the ideal balance is simple, clean trimmed and properly cared for, not fancy, not overdone, just clear proof that you still manage yourself and your appearance, and at your age life has taught you that small details matter, and your career taught you that, and your relationships taught you that. So why ignore something women see every time you hand them a menu, shake their hand, or reach for something? And hands are simply about steady upkeep and body. Part number 3 is connected to energy, and an impressive 84% of the women in our survey rated it far more important than muscle size, and the neck and jawline reveal a surprising amount about your health and body. Part number 3 is your neck and jawline, and before you think, great, another thing I can't fix, pause for a moment, because this is not about having the sharp jawline you had in your 30s, and women are realistic about aging, and we know exactly how 60, 65, and 70 truly look. And the goal is not perfection, it is visible, ongoing effort that shows you still take yourself seriously. And after 60, fat naturally gathers under the chin, and skin loses elasticity, and the neck muscles slowly weaken, and this happens to everyone, but some men fight it while others simply let it happen, and women can spot the difference from across a room. And there is a clear difference between a jawline that still has definition and one that fades into the neck, and between a neck that still holds shape and one that has almost disappeared. And we are not searching for youth. We are searching for signs of self-control. Because your face is the first thing people look at, and the thing they look at the longest. And yes, genetics play a role, and some men naturally store more fat in their neck area, and some men are born with stronger jawlines, but steady effort always shows. And your overall body fat level matters more here than anywhere else. And lose just 5 pounds, and your jawline becomes clearer, and lose 10. And suddenly, you have real definition where nothing existed before, and you do not need visible abs. You simply need a neck that hasn't vanished. And strength training helps a lot, especially big compound movements that use your back muscles, deadlifts, rowing variations, and pull-ups if you can do them safely. And these movements strengthen the deeper muscles that support your neck's shape and position. And the position of your neck connects directly back to body part number 5, your posture. And if your head is always pushed forward, your neck practically disappears. But when you keep your head centered over your spine, your jawline becomes visible again. And at your age, you have clear advantages. Younger men don't, because you understand what discipline looks like. And you've built careers, raised families, and handled long-term responsibilities. And using that same steady effort to improve your neck and jawline is simply applying knowledge you already have. And this process takes time, and you need at least 3 to 6 months before real visible change appears, but that time will pass no matter what, right? So you may as well choose improvement instead of decline. And let me share a quick example. Marcus, aged 67, lost 12 pounds in 4 months and added daily chin tucks and posture work to his routine, and he didn't do anything extreme. And within 1 month of hitting his goal weight, 3 different women approached him at a large art event, and his exact words were, "I didn't realize how much I had let myself go until I saw the difference." And now let's talk about something surprisingly important. Your forearms, and body part number 2 is your forearms. And many of you might think, seriously, why forearms? Yes, forearms, because they are visible in almost every social situation. And short sleeves are common, and people roll up their sleeves when reaching for something, paying for something, or opening a door. And women constantly see your forearms, and we interpret them in a very specific way. And here's the part men don't expect, because most men spend hours in the gym doing curls and pressing exercises, building the upper arms and shoulders, which actually rank 4th and 5th on this list. And meanwhile, the forearms are ignored and forgotten, and that thinking is completely backward. And women are not checking your forearms for beauty. We are looking for proof of ability, and strong forearms signal competence, real-world usefulness, and capability. And can you lift something heavy without effort? And can you fix something broken? And can you handle physical tasks confidently? And this is a basic instinct we look for because it represents functional strength, and it shows more in your lower arms than anywhere else. And the common mistake is relying on isolated gym exercises, like wrist curls, and they seem useful, but miss the real point. And do you know what actually builds impressive forearms? Using your hands consistently in real tasks, carrying heavy grocery bags, doing yard work, farmer's carries, or simply hanging from a pull-up bar for as long as possible, and real practical tasks that demand steady grip strength truly develop your forearms. And the great thing is that after 60, your forearms respond better to training than almost any other body part, and grip strength depends mostly on nerves and muscles, and both can be improved well into your 70s. And beyond, and visible veins also matter. Not the huge bodybuilder ones, but normal defined vascularity. And it instantly shows energy circulation and strong health. And women notice this instantly. And to be honest, I have been more drawn to a man's forearms than his face more than once because there is something deeply attractive about capable, active hands connected to firm, defined forearms, and it does not follow logic. It is not a checklist. It is a powerful, instinctive reaction. And here is the part that surprises most men. Achieving this look requires zero special gym sessions, because if you approach it the right way, pick up truly heavy items, carry them farther. Use your hands for real tasks. Instead of scrolling your phone, your forearms will naturally grow stronger and more defined. And most men obsess over the big muscles they only see in the mirror: chest, abs, biceps, while ignoring the body parts women actually observe in everyday life, and women look at the parts that show usefulness, capability, and involvement, and forearms communicate all of that without you saying a single word. And body part number one is the feature that most loudly reflects self-respect, and it is also the easiest thing to ruin or overlook without realizing it. And your eyes and your overall expression are the real mirror of self-respect. And this is the moment to stop shrinking yourself and stop playing a smaller role in life. And you have the intelligence, the wisdom, and the life experience. And now it's time to give yourself the respect you have fully earned. And from this moment on, everything begins with your eyes and the way you express yourself. And your eyes are not just tools for seeing the world. They are the tools that show the world who you are, and they display seriousness, purpose, and inner strength. And here is the truth you must understand. You can begin this change right now by shifting how you think about yourself, and start by taking control of your physical presence. And stand taller, walk with intention. Move like a man who knows where he is going, because this quiet confidence spreads through your entire body and becomes part of how people experience you. And when you walk into a room, you are not just entering quietly, you are sending a clear message: I am here, and I have something valuable to offer. And now let's be honest about the difficult part, because you may be thinking, I am too old to start this now, and that thought is completely wrong, because you are actually the perfect age to begin. And you have lived long enough to know what matters and what doesn't, and you have earned your place in this world. And at 60, 65, or 70, you are not competing with others your age, because many of them have already stopped trying, but not you. And this is your chance to rise above the ordinary. And do not let yourself become stuck by overthinking the process, because your biggest challenge is not your age, it is self-doubt. And remove that doubt right away and commit to taking action. And you don't need to change your entire life overnight, because small, consistent steps become powerful transformations. And begin small, stay present, smile more genuinely, and keep your head level and lifted. And this is about showing the world, and most importantly, showing yourself that you still have so much to give. And remember this clearly: you carry experience most people don't have, and you have lived fully, learned constantly, and overcome major battles. And instead of focusing on the past, direct all your attention toward the present moment, because what is ahead of you is what truly matters now. And here is the core message you must keep with you: Your eyes and the expression behind them reveal your self-respect. And own this fully and move through life with intention, and do not delay this shift. Begin now and earlier. I mentioned that 85% of men your age have already stopped improving, and now you understand why you are different and you are exactly where you should be. And it is not too late. And in fact, this might be the ideal time in your life to take bold control of your future. And we have talked about changing your mindset, understanding yourself more deeply, and improving how you move through the world. And you've learned that confidence is not about being perfect. It is about showing up with purpose and taking your rightful space. And we have made it clear that age is not the barrier starting is, and you might be in your 60s, 65, or 70 plus. But that is not a limitation. It is a powerful advantage. And you carry decades of knowledge and experience that younger men do not have. And you have survived hardship and came out wiser. And now it's time to use that strength for the next important chapter of your life. And this is where you create meaningful, lasting change for yourself. And if you are serious about improving, follow this channel, The Stoic Heart, because this resource is fully focused on giving you practical tools to keep progressing and avoid stagnation. And I post new videos every week with information to help you stay sharp and fully in control of your life. And click the notification bell so you never miss one. And always remember, this truth: age is just a number, and discipline is what lasts forever. And you've already taken the first steps by focusing on your posture, hands, jawline, forearms, and expression. And these are the outside signals that show your inner confidence. And women don't stop at physical appearance because they pay attention to something deeper. And that next factor, number 6, separates men who surrender to age from men who use age as power. And it is subtle and mostly behavioral, and you can change it right away. And the sixth factor is your voice, your cadence, and your volume. And women often call it the command signal. And it doesn't matter how good your posture is or how well your hands are groomed, if your voice is too soft, shaky, or fades at the end of each sentence, and after 60 many men start speaking quietly too fast or swallowing their words. And this usually isn't physical decline. It is a long-developed habit of stepping back or resigning yourself, and it immediately signals hesitation, low confidence, or even the belief that your words aren't worth attention. And women notice this instantly, and they are not looking for loud or aggressive tone. They want presence. They want a voice that sounds steady and grounded, a voice that fills the space naturally without yelling. And think about the men you respect, the leaders, the ones who run meetings confidently, the men who seem naturally comfortable in their own skin. Their voices share a certain deep quality, and they speak clearly with deliberate pacing, with intention, and with conviction that makes others listen without force.